Okay, that should actually do it. All right. No, come on. Okay, yeah, we're good. All right, I just mentioned you, Owen. Okay. Ready to take us live, Russ? Episode 56. Welcome to the Gray Area. Rex Jones and Tim Tompkins. We're joined by a special guest today, the one and only Owen Shroyer. Welcome to the Gray Area.
Feels like we're all in the gray area right now, Rex.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on. It's hard to figure out what's black and white.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know we watched your video today that you put out. It's very rare, like hardly ever in like the decade that I knew you when we worked together. I've really never seen you miss a show or miss a broadcast, but it is just all too much to take in at this point.
Yeah, I rarely ever miss a show. I rarely ever miss a broadcast going back to when I first started broadcasting professionally at the age of 21. So we're talking about 15 years, and there's probably 5 times maybe that I've missed a broadcast. And today was a little different. There was no reason, like there was no, like I know one time I had a family deal, maybe another time I've been sick, whatever. It was nothing like that. I'm sitting at my desk. It's about 2:00, and that's when I usually go through my final aggregation phase. So it's like total aggregation, and then 2:00, you got, okay, what can I do in 3 hours? What do I want to prioritize? And then you kind of filter the rest out, and I go with what I'm going to present on the show. And I'm sitting there, and it's just like I'm starting the process, and it's literally just death, destruction, division, hate, death, destruction, division, hate. And I'm like, I just can't do this today. I can't do it today. And, it's funny because, my producer, DMT, he sent me a message this morning, and you guys might know, the bros out there know, it's like when you got a friend that's close like that, it's like your brother from another mother. You're kind of synced up. And he sent me a message. It was just kind of like, I was like, oh, where's that coming from? Just like, hey, power through today, whatever. I was like, man, how did he know that I'm like looking at this news and just sick of it? So I called him. I was like, what do you think I should do? I can do the show. I've got the show prepared. And he was like, look, you got to make a decision. But if you think it's best not to do the show today, then you should just not do the show today. I said, okay. So I shot that video, and I know I made the right decision. And it's even nice that I'm on here with you guys now because I don't have to host the show. But I know I made the right decision because after I posted that video, I got so much incoming. And every day after you do a show, you usually get some incoming. Something you said sparks somebody's interest or a news story, whatever. There's always incoming after you do a live show. I didn't do the live show today. I shot that video, and I had most incoming I think I've had from a show this year. I mean, dozens of messages, dozens of DMs. People are saying, we totally resonate with you. Like, you're spot on, whatever. So everybody's kind of feeling it. And that was kind of confirmation like, yeah, that was the message today. People don't need to see the death and destruction today. They don't need to see the hatred and division today. So I know I made the right decision based off of all the positive feedback. And I'm going to get into it tomorrow. But, I think as I explained in the video, and Rex, you were saying the same thing to me earlier. And Tim, I think I saw you posted on X as well. We can't tell. We're trying to decide. This is the gray area, right? Talk about the theme of the show.
Sure.
We're trying to decide if this is really worse than it's ever been. Like, is this really as bad as it's ever been? Or does it just feel that way because we had such high hopes for this Trump administration? We went through so much to get here. I mean, we went through so much to get here, and now it feels like we've been totally betrayed, to put it simply. So it's like, is it really that bad? Is it really worse than it's ever been? Or does it just kind of feel that way because of the betrayal and because of all the work it took to get here? But regardless, the result is the same. All I see is death and destruction and hatred and division. And it's not who I am. It's not what I want to do with my show. I can't help. I have to cover the news. But I felt today the message was, it's like, hey, this is ridiculous. Like, something is wrong right here. And then I don't know if you saw this, but Trump put out a video, or I guess it was after the Massey rally, and he's in Cincinnati, or the anti-Massey rally. I mean, Trump is straight up doing North Korean level propaganda now.
Yes.
He goes, honestly, I mean, Kim Jong-un is blushing. He goes in front of the media and he says how successful the war has been. He says he's had the best presidency in the history of the country. He says the economy's better than it's ever been. What is he going to say next? He shot 18 on 18 holes of golf. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Who does he think he's fooling? Like, who does he think he's fooling with this ridiculous propaganda? And every time he does it, it's like whatever hope is left, it just keeps dwindling. And you're like, my God, we're almost at rock bottom with this administration now.
Don't you feel a little bit like you just you went back in time into like 2022 during like Biden and all the crazy stuff he was doing with Ukraine and the things that was happening with the immigration? Like, a lot of the things that I'm seeing now is that they're even going back on the illegal immigration situation. Like, the actual numbers are significantly less than what they should be, right?
Well, I feel like we're back in like 2000, like in the Bush years or something. I think we're going farther back than that. I know you guys are a lot younger, but it really feels like the GOP, the Republican Party, the conservative movement, it feels like it just went back 20 years, honestly. It feels like Trump just set it back 20 years. We'll see what the final outcome of it all is. And here's, look, I'm okay with political differences. I don't expect to exist in a cult. I expect people to have different politics that I have. And so that's fine. I don't like liars. I don't like deceivers. And there seems to be a lot of that on the right. So I think what you're kind of getting at, which I think we're all experiencing a little bit, is I guess we would call it the MAGA cult, the MAGA right, whatever this wing of right-wing politics is now. They've basically reverted. They are essentially the woke left. I mean, they're putting people on lists. They're calling for censorship. They're trying to destroy your life. Free Iran. Okay, Black Lives Matter. It's the same stuff. It's literally the same propaganda, just for different tastes, for different sides of the aisle. So I would ask MAGA this, because I don't take anything in politics personally. I think feeling a little heartbreak or betrayal is natural after everything we went through to get here. But I don't take anything in politics personally. So getting betrayed by a politician, getting lied to by a politician, like, okay, whatever, the sun comes up. What is really, I think, worse is watching what MAGA has turned into. And, Rex, you were there with us at the grassroots level of this. We've been in the streets together. I was one of the first people in the media to come out in support of Trump when he came down the elevator. And so it's like we've got to this point, and now all of these people that are basically living off the movement that we created, it's like they're wearing our movement as like a skin suit, as like an avatar. And all it is to them is a business model. All it is to them is a grift. All it is to them is like a popularity contest in high school where they've never sat at the cool kids table, and now they feel like, oh, we're running the cool kids table. And you're like, what are you doing here? This was our movement. You guys have just completely destroyed it. But aside from that, here's what I would like to see from whatever's left of MAGA. And I doubt they'd be able to commit to any of this, because I think they know. I think they know they've been fooled. I think they know they're unpopular, and you kind of see them crashing out right now. But I'd like to say this. For me, the line has already been crossed. So I'm already out, all right? I mean, just look at the situation in Iran. I wanted zero war with Iran. I wanted zero Iran strikes. I wanted zero dead American soldiers. I wanted $0 spent on a war in Iran. So that was already crossed for me. I knew my red lines already crossed for me. That's just one situation. So I would ask whatever's left of MAGA, I'd say, do you have any red lines? Is there any line where you will say, if Trump does this, I will be upset? Or are you just full-blown cult right here? Are you just full-blown cult cuck mindset that no matter what Trump does, you're going to celebrate it? Because he's pretty much betrayed every campaign promise. So I would say, for MAGA, I would say, okay, what about boots on the ground? Will you be upset if there's boots on the ground? New poll came out, 74% of Americans don't want boots on the ground. Let's go crazy. What if Trump drops a nuke? Would you be okay with that? How many dead soldiers? What if there's 100 dead soldiers? They just hit a refueling plane that there's usually 6 people on that. Did they survive? They just did another medical evacuation of Saudi Arabia. Apparently dozens of U.S. soldiers are injured. So it's like, MAGA, okay, where are your lines in the sand? Do you have any? Do you have any lines in the sand? And if so, what are they? And if Trump crosses these lines, will you dare say something? Or are you guys just are you just glued into the chair? Are you just chair maxing right now? Total cuck mindset, total cult mindset, or do you have any boundaries? Do you have any red lines? And so I doubt they'd be willing to commit. But I think what we've learned is this happens every time in right-wing politics. It's like cyclical. And that's why people like Nick Fuentes are kind of turned into this accelerationist mindset or just burn it to the ground mindset, because this happens every time. Republican politics get unpopular. Populism and nationalism takes over the body politic of the right, of the GOP. It gives us election victories. We get into power, and then the establishment steals everything from us. And then the establishment takes our movement, turns it into neocons, turns it into warmongers, the same crap we've been dealing with. They just did it with Trump. And so now we're sitting here and we're saying, not again. Not again. The entire right-wing Republican GOP establishment has to be completely removed from the picture altogether. Otherwise, we're going to win these victories, and then when we actually get in power, nothing happens that we want to happen.
I think what they've realized, like the establishment people in the GOP, Trump, whatever, his handlers, whatever, I think they've realized is that they can marry the crazy evangelical Christians and crazy Christian Zionists that truly do believe in the message, the mission, the lighting the signal fire to bring Jesus back in World War III, the apocalypse in the Middle East. And they can unite the grifters, the people trying to make the money, the people in the game, people, making that AdSense cash. They can connect those groups together where you have a group that truly believes in it too much and then a group that doesn't believe in anything at all. And bing, bang, boom, that's your new base. And I think as long as they can extract money out of people, they don't even care about the midterms. I think Trump has realized, and I think that the Israelis have realized, that this is their time to strike. This is their time to make the money, to do the deals, to do the wars, to do the invasions, because it's like I've heard you talk about many times, in 10 years, there's not going to be a political consciousness that supports this in the country. So now is the time.
You're 100% right on that. And you know what I'm also seeing outside of Iran is like now they're kind of coming out with like new quote unquote evidence and people who are witnesses that say Trump is not part of the Epstein files,
right,
and none of it's true. Do you know how many people slid into like my DMs or just like people in general just criticizing? They're like, see, you were wrong. You were wrong. Not my Trump. Not my Trump.
President Trump.
Not my president. And it's like, you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid that hard. Like that's how much you love that man, that like you can't even say there's an ounce of truth to what was being said. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think the Epstein files are being used to blackmail Trump. I don't know to what degree Trump is guilty of whatever he's guilty of, but I think if you look at the patterns and the trend that really have been going on for almost a year now, when they first started kind of doing the drip, drip, drip Epstein stuff to the media, I think there was a New Yorker story. There were some other stories. Oh, Trump wrote a letter. Oh, Trump signed a picture. And it was kind of just like, oh, spontaneously, this drip, drip, drip Epstein Trump stuff. And then what happened? All of a sudden, he started looking at Iran. All of a sudden, he started talking about striking Iran. And then he did strike Iran. And then, all of a sudden, the Epstein stuff went away. And now we're back here. He's forced to sign the Epstein Transparency Act. He had to do it. So he signs it. We're supposed to get all the Epstein files. We don't. The rumors were, and I don't even think it's necessarily, I mean, I would understand if they would say, okay, we have to redact Trump's name from the files for national security concerns. Like, I don't like that, but it's like, to a certain degree, you kind of understand the measurement, right? So let's assume that that is fair and what was happening. Well, guess what? Trump's name was all over the Epstein files. I mean, his name was up one side and down the other. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything, but to deny that he was in there as much as anybody, is just being dishonest. So then what happens? So they don't redact Trump's name, and now we're going back into Iran. Now we're striking Iran again. And then what happens? The DOJ pulls the files back and removes all the files with Trump's name in them. So it's like, is this just a public blackmail campaign? Many people have reached the same conclusion. I think this is a public blackmail campaign. I wonder what they really have on Trump. I don't even think, whatever it is that's happening here, I don't even think we've seen it. Whatever it is that they're using to pull the strings.
Excellent point.
I don't even think we've seen it. I think these are all just the warning shots of like, here's what's going to happen. That or Trump just sold us out. I mean, I don't really see any other option at this point. It's like Trump either needs our help because he's being blackmailed, or he's just decided to sell us out. Like what you said earlier, Tim, they've just had the realization that they have a finite amount of time to do all of these things they've been trying to do for years. It's the boomers' last gasp. Israel has, 5% air left in the tank of America that's kept them afloat. And so they're just going for broke right now, and they're using Trump to do it. But
this makes me nervous. Oh, and this makes me terrified, because let's say, okay, Democrats win the primaries. I mean, sorry, not primaries. They win the midterms, right? Then you've got 2028. Gavin Newsom's like the poster child.
He's coming.
He's coming, right? And if I see how he ran California, I don't want that for the rest of the United States. So like, I'm feeling. We got a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, whoever that was. It's very hard to read that in the bottom right corner. Okay, we got
massive respect to Owen and Rex and Tim from Moshmiri. Thank you very much. And we're still new. We're only like 56 episodes into doing the show. We're figuring out how to make it all vibe and work together. A seasoned professional like Owen waits to read the super chats. We always do, because we really appreciate it.
Well, you guys got a little dinger there. The dinger threw Tim off. He was like, "What?"
Yeah, I gotta.
Where are you at?
I gotta figure that out. No, what I was saying, like, it's even more terrifying to think that like Gavin Newsom would come into play, because I was a Democrat. I lived in New York. I was a Yankee for a very long time. And then when I saw all of like the transgenderism, I saw all of the chaos with just opening the borders and just letting anybody in. I'm boosted up. They forced me to take the vaccine and the booster. So like for me, I don't have a lot of trust on the left, and they're more united, right? So let's say they win midterms and they win the next presidency. What does America become then, right?
Yeah. Well, my concern is I just hope they leave us something. I hope they leave us something when the boomers are finally, their political run is finally done. I just hope we have some country left to save, just some semblance of a country, a culture, borders, language, culture, just something for us to try to redeem America. So that's my concern. I think at this point, it's probably too early to tell, but I would say it's a pretty high odd that the Democrats are going to take the House. Senate might be in play. And then I think 2028 is in the Democrats' favor as well. And what's wild about this is you see the MAGA cultists pointing the finger at everybody but themselves. They want to blame Fuentes, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, myself, whoever. And it's like, first of all, it's flattering that you think any of us would have more influence than Trump, but okay. No, this is because the GOP doesn't deliver results. This is because the Trump administration has betrayed probably about 30%, 40% of its base, just feels completely betrayed. So that's why the Democrats are probably set to win in 2 straight election cycles. It has nothing to do with independent media maybe breaking from MAGA, breaking from Trump. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with Trump, the administration, and the GOP not getting results.
That's right.
And so that denial, that living denial is going to send right-wing politics into some sort of a weird tailspin after the midterms that is going to be really ugly and really nasty. You kind of see Trump is even wading into those waters now as well, which is very uncouth and not charismatic. But it seems like that's where it's going. And I see the Democrats impeaching him. This time they probably have legitimate reasons to. It won't be like a hoax in the first administration, the bombing of the boats, the bombing of the school, whatever. They'll find real reasons to do it. The tariffs, I don't know, something. And it's going to be a nasty ride. I think it's going to be a nasty ride. As far as what Newsom does when he gets in, or if he gets in, or any Democrat gets in, I think you got a good taste. I think you got a good taste from New York. I think you got a good taste from California. I don't know if it would be that bad, But I think that's the direction they would probably go.
Money, 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 money.
What a super
We got
chat.
Anonymous donated
You gotta turn those
$5.
off.
Owen needed a day off, but I found him on Gray Area.
Yes, you did find him on Gray Area. I was going to ask you this question, Owen, because I often talk about this a lot with Tim or just solo by myself. What does the post-Trump era of politics look like in America? Because for more than a decade, people have been obsessed with this guy, following this guy. Like, love or hate him, no one's indifferent about Trump, right? To this very day. But you look at someone like a Vance or someone like a Rubio that's associated with this toxic, evil, betrayal administration, and they're supposed to run in a primary, and everyone's gonna be like, I'm behind Rubio, I'm behind Vance. They want to run Vance off of just pure name value association with Trump, and they want to run Rubio as kind of a new Hispanic Obama. At least that's how I see it. I see it as like they're a new Jeb Bush, right? And then someone's going to come on that field, whether it's Massey or someone else. I tend to think that it's going to be someone we haven't even thought of yet or haven't even considered. What do you think that looks like just for their political prospects in the post-Trump world?
I tend to agree. I think that I personally don't think I could vote for anybody that's part of this administration. Maybe my mind will be changed when we get to that point. But right now, I don't see anybody from this administration being electable. I think the stench of the current status of the Trump administration will stick with whoever decides to run for president outside of it. And look, if we're being fair, let's consider one thing. We just finished the first quarter of this administration. So let's be honest, but let's be fair. The first quarter, we got trounced. The first quarter, MAGA, America first, America's interest, American people, we just got our asses kicked. I mean, we got our clock cleaned in the first quarter of this new Trump administration. I mean, we got annihilated. We're in the second quarter now. There's still 3 quarters to go. Maybe there can be some sort of miracle, historic turnaround. So that could potentially redeem members of Trump's administration if they do decide to run in the future. But right now, I don't see any of them being electable. I don't think so. And I think you're right, Rex. I think should they get to that point on that debate stage, there will be someone up there that is going to act like Trump did in 2016 and just go ham and just call them all out. I guess the only concern would be, will they try to gatekeep anybody like that off of the debate podium? That would be the only potential thing I could see them doing. Say if, Thomas Massey or a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Tucker Carlson, we'll just use those names. If they decided to run, would the GOP let them on the debate stage to make that hay? That would be the only concern I have.
They tried to keep Trump off the debate stage. Yeah. It's a polling thing, right? And the thing is, like, I see a Vance, I see a Rubio polling at like 20, 25, maybe even 30%. But if that other candidate does exist or does exist in the primary, if you got someone that's getting 12% of the polling or 12% of the vote, I think that there'll be a real public outcry against the banning of that person. But I think you are right, Tim. They're going to try to do that.
Well, I mean, look, the reason why MTG turned on, the quote unquote MAGA is because Trump at a specific point was like, look, I'm not going to endorse you for running for Senate.
Sure.
And then she was like, I'm burning it all down. I don't care. That was like her last straw, right? So like if she doesn't have the support of the GOP in the first place, they don't want to put people on platforms like that. So I think you're right. But my biggest fear here is like, okay, I can't even vote for anybody at this point. That's the whole reason why we started the show, right? I mean, we were like,
want to fix the world and make things better.
We were like, we're tired of being lied on from both sides. And so now I just have no choice but to stay in the center and just call everybody out on their bullshit. And I have no problem when the next Democrat comes in, I'll be just as critical. But now, me even being critical of Trump, anything that's happening right now, I'm automatically labeled as like a libtard.
That's right.
I'm like,
yep.
Hold on. We can't just say wrong is wrong anymore. And that, when the Democrats were doing this, and if you were to criticize the vaccine, they would call you a commie, Republican and conservative, all these different names that they had. And I'm feeling disingenuous at this point.
Well, that's, I think you meant to say disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised.
That's the woke right. I mean, that's what we're dealing with on the woke right. And I think that our instincts are very similar. My instinct is, it's like I have professional training on how to do a broadcast. So I can put together a show and do a news broadcast. But my instinct what drives the show, what drives the direction of my coverage is I call out propaganda. I call out fake narratives, fake news, whatever. I'm trying to lead my audience to the closest version of the truth that I can possibly present to them. So, like you said, I don't care what's coming from the left. I don't care what's coming from the right. My natural instincts is to counter propaganda. And the fact of the matter is, all the propaganda right now is coming from the right. Now, granted, the right is in total power. So whatever left-wing propaganda they're spewing, it kind of just falls on deaf ears because it's not landing anywhere. It
Right.
goes into the abyss and it's just gone.
It's
So it's all the right-wingers that are in power that are spewing the propaganda. So people like you, people like me that just don't like being lied to, where are we going to go? We're going to call out the corrupt power on the right and the propaganda they're selling us.
Well, it's the same exact, and you talked about it earlier. It's literally libtard language. You look at any of these people with the Eric Doherty or Nick Swardor, just to name a few, or Cat Turd or Benny Johnson would be better examples.
Benny Johnson.
It's North Korean dear leader style propaganda, is it not, Tim?
Benny Johnson. Yeah. No, you're 100% right about that. And here's the thing. This is why I'm kind of liking Nick Fuentes a lot these days. He just doesn't care. And I think, you know, independent platforms like yourself, Owen,
Like
here on the
ours.
gray area, I think everybody's getting to that point where they realize, you know, it is okay to kind of step out of that box, if you would say. And I wouldn't expect Nick Fuentes to say certain things like he's saying these days.
Well, it's reality, man. It's being able to acknowledge reality, and the reality is like there's nowhere you can go to vote against any of this. It seems, and especially the people that promise you results, the people that promise that they will fix things for you, the people that tell you everything that you want to hear, literally, and not just the generic politician's promise of we're going to lower taxes and make the world better for you, son. Literally, we're going to arrest the PDF files. We're going to stop the neocon wars. He literally goes over to Saudi Arabia, tells all the Gulf countries no more wars for the neocons in the Middle East.
Yep.
And then us as the voters were like, hell yeah, that's what we wanted. And then, 8 months later, there's a massive war. What do you think about that, Owen?
So I put up a post, and it's becoming more true by the day. After Trump won the election, because I've been through this enough in the political media now. I've been through these election cycles enough. I put out a post that said, okay, Trump won. Now get ready for the craziness. Get ready for the sauce. And the specific quote was, remember what you stand for, not who. Remember what you stand for, not who. And that's how you can, keep the straight and narrow and try not to go crazy and all this stuff. And it's been proven true. You can see the people that are just loyal to a man versus the people that have actual principles and are sticking to the policies. So when you break it down from that perspective, I just don't see any policies. I mean, the one policy success is the border is closed. I mean, that's basically the only policy success. You could also say, and it is true, that crime is down. So I would say, I guess those are the two big policy successes. Crime is down and the border is closed. But, here's my frustration with that. That should be par for the course. I shouldn't be up here begging to have basic law enforcement. I shouldn't be up here begging to not have an illegal invasion of my country. And it feels like somehow this is, celebration worthy when this should just be the basic concept, the basic practice. But nonetheless, I'd say those are the two successes of this administration. But we've had more Iran strikes than deep state arrests. We've had more dead American soldiers than deep state arrests. We're getting nothing from the Epstein files other than questions and, is this a cover up now? And so the economy's not getting better. We're back into the Middle East. So as far as the issues are concerned, I don't see how anybody can sit here and say that this has been a success on the policy. And it's funny, you brought up some of those names, and some of them I'm willing to be a little more critical of than others because I'm a little closer to the situation maybe than you are. But I will say, for almost all of the characters that you just mentioned, you can almost go back with every single one of them and find a post that is just the complete opposite of what they're saying today.
That's what I'm talking about.
You are right. Yeah. You are right. I'll give you that 100%.
Go ahead.
And that was at the beginning when it was cool to be able to do that. But cool now,
anti-war. Now it's not.
Now it's not cool. But one thing that I do want to highlight is, I think earlier you were talking about boots on the ground. I don't think the United States and Israel knew what they signed up for. And so now that you got the Strait of Hormuz that's in the situation, there might be a possibility that they might put boots on the ground on the Iranian side in order to stop them from bombing all of these oil tankers and allow supplies to go through, because they can't afford a global shock at this point.
And I want to interject really quick because we want Owen's take on this and his opinion. To add on to what you just said, not only are they blockading the Strait of Hormuz, not only are we going to possibly bring people in there to ease the pain domestically so people don't feel it for a couple of weeks, he's announced 180 million or billion or whatever it is barrels of oil from the strategic reserves.
And it's
just
not
like Biden, but it's just like Biden, literally like Biden.
But it's not even going to work because it's going to take a year from the estimates for them to even stabilize the amount of loss that's coming out of that region right now. So go ahead. What do you think about that?
Well, let's look at all the different angles of this. The United States gets roughly 5% of its oil that it consumes through the Strait of Hormuz. The global oil consumption, it's about 20%.
Yes.
So these are significant numbers. It shouldn't be as crippling to us. So I think it's more of an excuse than anything else. I think it's send an oil tanker out there, send a ship out there and hope Iran blows it up, or hope the Houthis or Hezbollah blows it up because, hey, this gives us the war that we want. So I think that that's maybe a larger factor than even the oil. It's not to say that 20% or 5% are insignificant when we're talking about energy consumption, but I do think there's a couple factors at play. Now, if you look outside of the Strait, what else is happening? Strategic oil reserves are being released pretty much everywhere, pretty much across the globe. People are tapping into their strategic oil reserves. Some obviously have more than others. Some are in a situation where they're kind of like, how long can we last with this deal? Trump just released sanctions on Russian oil. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is massive. This is basically
total reversal.
Of course he would.
Total, but not just a total reversal. We're essentially in a war with Russia through Ukraine. I mean, we are essentially at war with Russia in Ukraine. We're just, the Ukrainians are the ones dying. We're just the ones paying for it and arming it. But that's essentially our war. And now you've just given Russia a cash cow. Now Russia is, hundreds of millions are pouring into Russia every single day now that these oil sanctions are lifted. So they release some of the strategic petroleum reserves. That's good for like maybe a week. Like that's barely going to dent the market. It'll give them some time. So really all they did was they bought a week or so of time with the strategic oil reserves to try to figure out what the hell they're going to do. I don't think they know. And now they're giving Russia the cash cow of releasing the oil sanctions, and Russia has money pouring in hand over fist right now. So really none of this should be going on. And here's the other issue. When we went into Venezuela, it turns out that whole thing was about oil. Go figure. They lied.
Mm-hmm.
We go into Venezuela. They have oil ready for market, okay? All the oil that was ready for market, you guys know where it went?
Israel.
It went to Israel. All the oil ready for market went to Israel. So literally Israel first. Now, you have Doug Burgum down there last week. He's meeting with Delcy Rodriguez. He's down there talking with the oil executives, and they're saying, we're going to tap into the Venezuelan oil. Here's the problem. It's not ready for market. And not only is it not ready for market, they don't even have the infrastructure. So even if you want to get to that Venezuelan oil, you're like 6 months to a year, really. I mean, realistically, it could be more. Who really knows? You're 6 months to a year from even being able to tap into that Venezuelan oil. The oil ready for market is gone. It's claimed you're not getting any of that. So you can't even use whatever losses you have because of this war through Venezuela, which was the plan, because the oil is just simply not ready for market. And now you have another situation. So now these oil companies, I mean, nobody would ever accuse the oil companies of being greedy. But now the oil companies are going to sit there. They're going to look at the Trump administration, and they're going to say, all right, well, hold on a second. You need us. You are now desperate for us. So here's what we want. We want you to pay for the whole damn thing. If you want us to go into Venezuela and get all of this oil to market, this is the infrastructure we need. You're going to pay for it. And you watch. They're already talking about it. I'd say probably by the end of the month, maybe next month, they'll come out and announce that the U.S. taxpayer is going to subsidize all the oil companies in Venezuela so that they can get the oil to market as fast as possible. So not only is it going to be Trump talking about how the donors are going to make a bunch of money on this oil deal, they're also going to steal a bunch of our money to build the infrastructure because Trump is so desperate to get those prices down. So total mess, total mess. And you know what's frustrating? We probably have We probably have alternative energy sources that the government is keeping secret from us. There's all kinds of energy that we could be consuming and using right now. We wouldn't have to rely on oil to the extent that we do, and we just don't do it.
Well, they shut that all down, right? As soon as Trump came in, he's like, anything that has to do with renewable energy, green, get rid of it. But the thing is you talk about Venezuela, but the deeper layer below that is the type of oil, right? Venezuela has primarily heavy crude oil. So that's not even sustainable for all the other types of oil that the world actually needs. So it's not even really a win to have that oil if you think about it. And, you know, if I'm Europe, I'm going home and I'm crying every night.
It's over
because if you think about it, we blew up their pipeline under Biden, right?
Nord Stream.
And then we decide to now choke them the other way. And
a French military base just got hit today.
Ooh, isn't that beautiful? I didn't even know that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, look, we're the abusive we're the abusive husband that comes in Europe, and you're like, you like this, and they're like, and they don't even know what to do at this point, right?
Well, but hold on though, Europe, they kind of don't have a choice because they steal all of our money through NATO, so they kind of have to sit there and take the bitch slaps because you know we pay for their defense.
I want to come in here.
Go ahead.
I got to come in here. So you were talking about Russia, Ukraine, and now we're kind of in our own Russia, Ukraine. And keep in mind, the goal of the Russia, Ukraine war from our end getting involved, we're going to deplete their military. We're going to make sure they don't have enough weapons to fight us. We're going to make sure they're not a threat. What is going on in Iran? What is going on in the Middle East right now? We're using all of our munitions. We're having to pull munitions out of Asia. I mean, this is another thing people aren't talking about. South Korea and Japan are pissed.
Of course.
They're pissed off.
They're scared about China.
They've said they're going to re-examine their security agreements because what the hell? You can just pull away the missile defense whenever you want it. So it's just a moment where I think America has finally, it's like the emperor with no clothes, right? And the tailor is really the state of Israel and the other foreign nations that rob us. And America's like the emperor, and we're wearing all the clothes. We got the gold, we got the drip. And over time, it's been taken. And what they give us is invisible. It's promises. It's the alliance that we have and all the things as things get worse and as the American people suffer. And now we've traded away our underwear. We're walking down the street.
I got a question for you, Owen, in conjunction with what he just said. We also had the Pentagon that asked for an additional $50 billion. With what he just talked about with the munitions moving around, as well as that $15 billion, like, what's your standpoint on that?
Well, I think that our allies are going to start looking at us a little differently, you know, and to go a little further into what you were insinuating, Rex, I think Trump betrayed the whole world. I don't think it's just the MAGA Trump support base in America that feels betrayed. I think everyone feels betrayed, quite frankly, except obviously Netanyahu. He's getting a reach around every night and a rim job. But it seems like the rest of the world and Trump's voter base feels totally betrayed by Trump. I think the Gulf nation states feel betrayed by Trump. They're still kind of not sure how to handle it. I think South Korea, Japan. Now, as far as the real threat to them is concerned, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. But I think it's more of an attitude thing. I think it's more of a, hey, hold on a second. We're not bombing 7 different countries, right? Israel created its own problems. Israel created its own enemies. South Korea's not attacking North Korea. Japan's not attacking China or getting involved in Taiwan or the South Asia Sea or anything. None of that's happening. They're just there minding their own business, trying to take care of their people, doing pretty well. And here Trump comes in and he's like, oh, by the way, fuck you too. Sorry, fuck you guys too. So I think it's a measurement of the total betrayal of the whole planet, and it's all in support. It's all in favor. It's all directed towards one entity, and that's Israel in the Middle East. Now, the other issue with that is what is our capacity really like right now with the military? I don't think we know. If you listen to what Trump says, he's obviously airing confidence. He's obviously airing, we have no problems right now as far as capacity is concerned. And I bet they have some big heavy artillery stuff that they can use. But as far as like light munitions and missiles and stuff, I'm not so sure. Everything we've spent in the Israel war, everything we've sent to Ukraine, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that we have what is necessary to fight this war on Israel's behalf in Iran for much longer without getting out the big bombs. without getting out the heavy stuff that just is total annihilation stuff. So, yeah, that's another issue. Oh, we're pulling the THAAD systems out in South Korea. Is that the signal that, hey, we actually don't have the capacity for this war? And you know what? Here's the important thing to understand. They either underestimated this stuff or they just took a shot. But the truth is, they have failed at every level of this war.
Yes.
The first level was, we'll bomb Fordo and we'll say we obliterated their nuclear. They won't be able to have nukes for years. That's what Trump said. Well, a year later, they're once again days away from a nuke. Now they're saying they were going to have 10 bombs by next month. So they just make this stuff up. So they're obviously lying. But regardless, that was the first phase. Bomb the nuclear capabilities and say we're done. Israel wasn't pleased. So then came the second phase. They sent in the CIA. They sent in the Mossad insurgency groups. They armed them. And they tried to have a color revolution on the ground. And this is when you had the whole protesters getting killed thing. Who knows what really happened with that? I'm not claiming to. But that's where that whole thing develops, was Mossad, CIA, insurgent groups, proxy groups went in there, tried to arm up, Iranian revolutionaries and overthrow the government. That failed, and I guess ended up getting a bunch of Iranians killed. So then they drew back again. So then they said, all right, let's kill the entire leadership in Iran. Let's just wipe them all out, 50 of them. So then they start bombing, thousands of bombs. They kill Khamenei. They kill all the other leaders. They kill 50 leaders. And then what do they say? They say, all right, we killed your leadership. Now go take your country back. Iranians, we killed the leadership. Go take your country back. They didn't do it. All they did was unite the country against the United States and Israel. So, strike one, obliterating the nuclear facilities. Strike two, trying to start a ground revolution in the streets of Iran. Strike three, killing their entire leadership. And then trying to get the Iranians to take the government. It didn't work. You might even say strike four. I guess the baseball analogy fails now, but they tried to get the Kurds. They said, hey, Kurds, we'll arm you guys again. We'll fund you guys again. You go. And the Kurds said, no, thanks. We're not interested. So what are they going to do next? All of their options are now off the table. They've failed at every step of this. That's why I think they're either going to do one or two things, or maybe eventually both. I think they're either going to have to retreat and stop, and they'll just declare victory, by the way. That's what they'll do. They'll say, oh, we won. It was a total victory. And the MAGA hats will kick their legs up high in the air and, ask Trump if he needs his balls washed or something. And they'll say, oh, yeah, huge victory. And then they'll probably restart everything in the summer, is my guess, kind of recalibrate and restart a new operation in the summer. They have to do this all before midterms. That's the window of time. They know they have to do this before midterms because it's not looking good for Republicans. Democrats get in, Trump's impeached, the whole thing's ruined. So they have to do all of this before midterms. My other concern is, and people talk about nuclear bombs, whatever, don't put a name on it. Will they drop the big one? Will they drop? Trump says, we've got bombs you've never seen, a total annihilation. So is that going to be their final line? Are they going to drop a bomb? Are we going to watch a bomb go off, the likes of which no one's ever seen?
Hold on a minute. Tim, it doesn't sound like our guest is very grateful for the peace president. And we have a problem with that.
That is our president.
That's right. And we got a big problem with that on the show because they've done so many great things for us, like get us into this war and whatnot. That's a thing that I want to ask you about. They tell us, you just listed this horrible situation that we're in, and the arrogance, the hubris of thinking that we can quickly get out of it somehow, even if we declare victory and walk away.
Well, it's a sunk cost fallacy at this point.
Sure.
We have no option but to continue going forward.
But my thing is, they tell you that you have to be grateful for it. And isn't that the final insult? Because the foreign policy is so macabre and so insane and so grotesque that we look at it, and it's like you said, hey, I'm just taking a break from doing the show today to recalibrate because it's all too much. It's not enough that it's happening. They don't even not tell you about it. They tell you that it's happening. They release hype edits of it. People doing football sacks and touchdowns.
The Wii Sports.
Yeah, the Wii.
I enjoyed that one today, right?
Why don't you like your goy slap, Rex? I don't get it. We try to make it fun for you. You like football. We do a little football. You like Pokemon. I think they call it Pokemon. We do a little Pokemon. And you're just never happy. We tried the Wii Sports. I called BB. I said, what does Rex like? He said, I think he likes Wii tennis. And you're not even happy with the Wii tennis. I don't know what to do. I don't know what we can do for you. We're giving you the best goy slap you've ever seen, and you won't eat it.
Well, look, I rival you now. Do you see?
Look how beautiful.
True. It's the best propaganda like you've never seen before. I'm the peace president. Can you believe people buy that?
Look at this. look at this. We've got the World Cup coming, and we just killed 200 Iranian schoolgirls, blew them up, double tap. You saw their arms and legs flying everywhere like this. And you know what, though? They're not allowed at the World Cup, okay? They're the bad guys here. Iran banned from the World Cup. You don't belong. Only us bombing you. We're the ones that belong here, okay?
Yeah, so we're at war, right? We're at war. It's true. People are saying it. I've said it's not a war, but I've also said it's a war. The Israelis, they hit the oil infrastructure after we told them not to. I say, why did you do that, BB? And he says, shut up. He says, shut up to me. And I say, okay, that's my answer for today. I mean, yeah, we've ascended.
Oh, I'm missing mine.
Why aren't you eating your goy slop, Americans?
This is
Hold on. Give me a second, T-Blood. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Do we have one more?
Yeah, well, he's the military wing. He's the guy.
Yes, sir.
We're sending him off. We're sending him off to battle.
I'm ready to be out there, sir. Send me to the front lines.
We're gonna
Are
send
you ready to die for foreign and special interests? Tim?
We're sending
You're a
you.
good American.
We're sending
We're
you
gonna
on a mission. They made a movie about it. It was called Suicide Squad. Very good movie. I'm a big fan of Suicide Squad.
Feed me my daily goy slop, sir.
Yeah,
You got it. We're gonna give you a nice lobster dinner before you go die for foreign and special interest in a desert in the Middle East again. This time it'll be a mountain. Are you okay with dying on a mountain, Tim?
Yes, sir. Anything for my president, sir.
A big, beautiful mountain. Mountains like you've never seen before. The whole country is surrounded by
You've
mountains.
never seen mountains like this. Let me tell you, while you're taking your final dying breath for dying for foreign and special interest, that last breath, be sure to enjoy the view. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a nice final view for you. Congratulations. You're welcome.
And people are saying that we should make you pay for the view. I say give it to the soldiers for free. All right, that's fun.
I love it.
We have fun. We have fun.
Oh, man. We have fun on the show,
Little
guys.
levity. You have to. It's so dark what's going on right now, man.
See,
that was fun.
I didn't expect him to have the Trump wig, so.
You got to have it ready to go. When a Trump impression happens, you have to be ready to go.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so I was trying to say earlier, so this whole sunk cost fallacy, you were asking, like, where does this go? How far? I think they go all the way. Like, I don't think they nuke people. That's just not an option. I mean, when you say a big bomb, if civilians start getting killed, like the schoolgirls, they can get away with that, unfortunately, right? Because it's not a big enough number, right? But as soon as you start killing them by the thousands, similar to what you did in Gaza, you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands. And it's America.
I think it's already happening, Tim. I think it's already happening.
I mean, look at that oil depot.
But wouldn't Iran be putting that and posting that all out on the news right now? If
You would think, but consider a couple things. People are getting arrested for filming war damage right now. That is happening in the Middle East and the Gulf nation states. And the other thing is, there's clearly some level of blackout between Iranian media and us. And I don't know if there's probably many different barriers, language barriers, social media barriers, whatever. But here's kind of what I lean on that tells me that there's clearly some barrier between information. They make these ridiculous claims. The number's always changing. It's been 2,000 protesters killed, 50,000 protesters killed, whatever. They make these claims. Who's seen any real evidence of that? Who's seen any real footage or evidence of that? I've seen none. I've seen a couple stills where they claim it's a bunch of body bags, like 2 or 3 images that they're sending around. Where is the video? Where are the videos? Where is the outrage? It's just I don't see it anywhere. So I think
didn't Iran shut down their internet? Like they're still in a blackout. Yeah, true. Like that's
it's hard to tell. It's so hard to tell, and that's why I don't get too much into like actual on the ground information because it is so hard to tell. It's hard to tell what's true. It's hard to tell what's new, what's old. So I don't know. I'm not clear. I'm not clear on the ground situation in Iran.
This is a point about it being a global war. So when that initial attempted insurgency happened, revolution, rebellion, whatever you want to call it, the CIA, Mossad reportedly, they admitted to having people on the ground helping organize it. The Iranians put out a bunch of videos of like jammed Starlinks or Starlinks that they had captured. And who taught them how to do that? The Russians. And where did the Russians learn how to do that? In Ukraine. And why did they learn how to do that? Because we were using it against them. So this is World War III, even if it is rumblings of it, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Tim?
I think you're right. I mean, it's very proxy-like at the beginning because you had Ukraine and Russia, and then technically North Korea got involved, which is a direct intervention. But now that you've got Israel and you've got Israel and America that's involved. here's the thing. I don't know if it goes quite to the level of World War III quite yet, because China's sitting in the sidelines right now. They know better. I mean, they're
winning by default.
They are winning by default. They're letting the big angry monster tire itself out. And then when we've had enough of it, they're just slowly siphoning power, and not in a military sense. They want it economically. They're on a whole nother level in terms of mindset. They wrote The Art of War. They know exactly that this war isn't a game of like brute force. It's purely strategical, in which you have to capture the economic system as a whole. So now you've got Canada making deals with China. Now you've got European countries making deals with China, which I would have never thought that would have happened in a million years. And now even India, who was supposed to counter China as the manufacturing hub for America, is now partnering with China. So look, at the end of the day, like we are silently seeing our decline.
And we talk about Russia and India a lot on the show. I talk a lot about Russia. Tim talks a lot about India. And here's the thing, like, people have opinions on these countries. They hate the Russians. They go, communist, red, Soviet, and they hate the Indians as well. But ultimately, we need to have partners around the globe to work with us if we're not going to work with freaking China. So are the partners in Europe? Are they in South America? Are they in Israel? They don't have manufacturing. They don't have the logistical support that those other nations
Europeans
do.
Are too busy vacationing.
We spit in the face of everyone that would work with us. And it's just like, and that's the thing you were talking about earlier about the betrayal, not just to Americans, but to the entire world of Trump. I think the Russians especially were really ready to work with him.
Well, Russia's been trying to work with America post-Cold War. Putin tried to enter NATO and start signing treaties. They were months away from those things happening. And then European countries stepped in and said, no way, we're not going to stop taking NATO money for defense from America and sabotage that. I think personally, Russia is our greatest natural ally. I think a partnership between America and Russia would be the most formidable, dual country partnership in the world right now, with landmass and resources and military might. But obviously, the establishment wants to keep us away from this. And I think that, the one thing that Americans kind of don't fully grasp, our foreign policy is basically stuck in the Cold War. It's basically like paused in time from the Cold War. And I don't just mean like policy-wise. I mean like actually like practically wise, in that we're sitting here obsessed over like a singular thing. And right now it's Israel in the Middle East. Why is China staying on the sideline? Well, because China has moved their foreign policy into the 21st century, like most other countries on earth, which is you don't need military allies or partnerships. We're not at war 24/7. That's America. America's at war 24/7. China's not at war 24/7. They might have some ideas. They're building islands. They're looking at Taiwan. They're looking at Hong Kong. There's ideas there, but they're not constantly at war 24/7. That's America. That's why we're like stuck in this Cold War era foreign policy where we're just shelling money out 24/7 for these bases, for these foreign countries, for foreign aid. We're just like trapped. We're like paused in this dark ages of foreign policy. Meanwhile, China's just sitting over here like they got their own problems, but they're not losing blood and treasure anywhere. They're not spilling blood and treasure in the Middle East. They're not spilling blood and treasure anywhere else. Their blood and treasure is in China. They're building up China. Not to say they don't have their own problems. But it's like that's where Americans just can't even comprehend how corrupt our foreign policy is. It's outdated. It's stuck in the 20th century. It's draining us. I mean, quite literally draining us. And when you talk about World War III, or the concept, the idea of it, when this thing first popped off, they said, oh, here's the alignments. It's going to be America and Israel, and then NATO and the EU countries versus Iran, Russia, China, and then, maybe India, Pakistan get involved. Obviously, Pakistan, no friend of Israel's. India, friend of Israel's. Maybe they kind of get involved. And I sat back and I said, if you think that's how this is going down, it shows how uninformed you are geopolitically. America will be isolated in this war. America will end up isolated as the only country standing beside Israel. And now we see it. The Gulf nation states, they don't want to get involved. European countries, they're saying no thanks. I mean, even India, Pakistan, they're kind of lobbing munitions out there just through the media, making statements, but they're not really getting physically involved. China, Russia, okay, maybe they're sharing intelligence. They're kind of using this as like a boost to kind of help their own interests and maybe help Iran, whatever, to help themselves. But no, America is 100% isolated in this war with Israel. They're the only country backing Israel. And what's so crazy about it is it's not even popular. The American people don't even want it. So it's really a wild time to be alive. I mean, you hope that this is like the last stand, right? You hope that this is the last stand of disastrous foreign policy. And look, leftists, to their credit, you look at a country like Turkey, you look at a country like Spain, horrible domestic policy. Spain has wide open borders. Turkey, very authoritarian domestic policy. Those are two countries that just have bad, you might say, leftist, authoritarian, leftist, liberal domestic policy. But you look at foreign policy, they've got like the best foreign policy out there, like foreign policy that we wish we had. So you kind of hope if the left does get back into power in America, yeah, we're going to get the domestic policy that's going to open the borders or whatever else, whatever other garbage leftists do when they get into power. But it's like, maybe, just maybe, they'll see how unpopular the foreign policy is. They'll see all of the money that our foreign policy costs us. And maybe they figure, well, since we're open socialists now, instead of spending $1 trillion annually on foreign policy and foreign interests, why don't we do it to actually try to make some of our socialist utopia dreams come to fruition? So if the left does get back into power, maybe something like that happens. That would be the best outcome of all of this that I could see.
Well, I mean, I don't see how you run on anything else, right? I mean, Everyone was pissed off about the Biden era, and now Trump was supposed to be the savior, and now they're seeing, okay, well, he's not the solution either. The next person, whoever comes in, better get with the program, because at the end of the day, people are not going to put up with it. I mean, the first ounce or even the first instance that you see something that feels like a lie or that you're not keeping your promise, the American people are going to get up in arms about it. I mean, it's very clear. But, I want to talk a little bit about the Russia situation, because you were touching on something that I wanted to kind of highlight. And we just have to look at history. Like, you've got to look at context. At a certain point in the 90s, when the Soviet Union broke apart, right, you had the Russians actually willing to go into this whole world of capitalism. They were like, hey, we want to send your economist, help us get with the program, help us become part of, the Western society. And you know what we did?
We raped them.
We basically created this new thing called shock therapy, where we were like, okay, we've got to get them into capitalism as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they're going to become communists again. So the only way is to sell off all their assets and everything. And then 7 people own all of Russia. And then you have inflation go up significantly. We killed their economy. And then we expect for, Russians to just get along. Like, the Cold War could have ended right then and there had we actually made the right moves.
And that's why we have such hatred of Putin, is because who kicked those oligarchs out or at least broke them up? It was Vladimir Putin.
Yes. And I can't even be mad at Putin. Just take it from his standpoint. This is a country that he loves, right? And he was KGB, whatever. He saw the degradation of his country and he wanted to do something about it. But even despite knowing that he got screwed over, and America said, we will not move 1 inch east and we won't pull any more countries into NATO. And then we pull like 12 more countries after that.
And then they're going for Ukraine.
And Ukraine was the biggest one.
Our deep state swamp geopolitics loves having a boogeyman. So they always want to keep Russia as that boogeyman, and Europe supports it because of the NATO money laundering operation. And then they like to have the Muslim boogeyman, which is obviously the Israeli interests. So you have European interests that like Russia as the boogeyman to America because they launder money through NATO. And then you have the Israeli interests that like the Muslim boogeyman because they just outright use our blood and treasure for their wars in the Middle East. So that's the problem. That's what we have to break from, I think, quite frankly. I think the American people are ready to break from it. It's just a matter of, can we get somebody in there that's actually going to do it? We thought it was going to be Trump. Obviously, at this point, it doesn't look like it is going to be Trump. I think, like I said, we're in the second quarter here, so there could be a miracle turnaround. But right now, all signs are, Trump just sold us all out.
What's your ideal scenario?
I was about to say, what does the solution look like? Like, let's get white pill for a second, because today obviously has been a dark day, but let's say we get white pill about it. Where do you see life going? Where do you see America going?
Well, let's just talk raw politics. I would say
That
the left. I think the left gets back into power. I think they win the midterms, and we'll see what happens as far as the impeachment of Trump. You notice that the deep state doesn't really go after Trump much anymore. I think that's pretty telling. So we'll see what the real interest level with impeachment is if the Democrats really want to go there. But I think the message in the midterms is going to be loud and clear to the Republicans, which is, you guys suck, you betrayed us, and we're not going to vote for you until we get results. And then, whatever you want to do as far as Trump and his administration and the corruption is concerned, we're just going to look the other way. We're going to say, hey, you told us you didn't want us, you betrayed us, so we're done. We fought for you for 8 years. You stabbed us in the back. Enjoy the Democrats now. Enjoy whatever they're going to do to you. We're out. You'd betrayed us, so we're not running to your defense. And let's see if the Mark Levins of the world decide to step up and defend Donald Trump in that moment. I wouldn't bet on it. So then you get to 2028. That'll be just 2 years of total chaos. Most things outside of the political chaos will probably remain the same as far as our lifestyle is concerned, would be my guess. Then you get to 2028. I do think the Democrats win, and then I think you start to see some differences. So best case scenario, like I said, I think we see kind of a more Spain, Turkey, leftist, domestic policy. They'll have some authoritarian stuff. Let's hope Trump doesn't give them the keys to the AI surveillance kingdom, but looks like that might happen. So you'll have some authoritarian stuff. You'll have the normal liberal bull crap, but then you might actually get a good foreign policy. I think the Democrats are going to run on the anti-Israel platform in the midterms. I think it's going to be just outright. I think they're just going to run on that platform, and they're going to probably win on it. They'll double down. They'll have victories in 2028. And then I think people will once again look at the wild left, look at the liberal left, look at what they do with the power, look at what they do with liberalism. And then we'll get back to right-wing politics, 2030, let's say, win the midterms. And then you get to 2032, and I think that'll be our next shot to get somebody in there who's right-wing, populist, patriot, common sense, nationalist that might actually be a reform agent in the right-wing patriot movement. I think, unfortunately, that's the timeline now. We're that far away from it now. I think that's how far set back this administration has pushed us back. We're like 8-year reset zone now. But I would say that's the best case scenario. And this time, hopefully, with the younger generations and the people that have learned our lessons now, quite frankly, through Obama and Trump, we'll have better indicators or ideas of how to make sure if and when we get our candidate in there, we keep them on the straight and narrow to actually deliver on the campaign promises. And then, hey, who knows? Honestly, if we stopped spending trillions of dollars overseas, if we stopped with all the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, if we cut taxes down to the average American paying like 3 to 5% in taxes, I don't think Americans understand how rich we should be. I don't think Americans have any idea how rich and prosperous our country could be if we weren't spilling all of our treasure all over the world. We would have the best metropolitan, the best metroplexes. We'd have the best train stations. We'd have the best airports.
Our trains are amazing. What are you talking about? They go 45 miles per hour. That's the state of the art.
Max speed, top speed.
Yeah. We can't do a maglev. We can't do a maglev train. We can't do the Boring Company trains here in Texas to have a hub in Austin that goes to Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, because that would just make too much sense. No, I say that's my best case scenario. Unfortunately, this Trump administration set us back about 8 years, so it's going to take about 8 years to rebuild it. But that's what I think the best case scenario is. I think I want to envision it. I want to be positive about it. I do think it's possible. And I think it's just going to be the challenge is to get Americans to understand. And this is kind of what Doge was about. This is why the whole pulling off of Doge would have been so important. Americans don't understand. You don't have to pay 33% in taxes. Like, you don't. You don't have to. We don't need NATO. We don't need Israel. We don't need foreign aid to all these countries. Like, Social Security is a scam. Like, it's all a scam. Think about it. Like, it's like once Americans realize this, the whole game changes. So
I want to come in here. I want to come in here a little bit because you look at the 11 plus billion, 12 billion now, whatever it's up to.
I think it's 17. Dude.
17 billion that we spent on this conflict. Just imagine what that would do for your family, your community, the people at home. And they can say, oh, well, that's not that much money. It wouldn't actually do anything. We got to protect our interest overseas. We got to do it. Trump wanted $5 billion to build the wall. Okay, in 2018, Trump was all he was asking for was $5 billion. I remember it. You remember, Owen. We're old enough and long enough in the tooth in the game to remember this. They treated Trump like he was evil for asking for $5 billion, acted like it would bankrupt the U.S. Treasury. And look at the trillions that we spent on to that point. I looked at the national debt at one point during that time period. It was like 18 trillion. Now it's like whatever it is.
We're going to be 40 trillion by the end of the year.
There you go.
My heart.
So me and you, and this is all making me think about a bit long-winded here, but I'm trying to get to my point. Me and you have been watching this for so long. I mean, I remember when you first came to the office, probably the first week that you were there, probably like 10, 11, or like however, 11 or 12 years ago when this all was happening, I guess 10 to 11 years ago. And I remember being up with you at a GOP event in Dallas 6 years ago. Do you remember that? Went up there in the tank.
Was it a GOP event or was that an NRA event?
It was a GOP event. It was not an NRA event. And I remember going there with you, and there were like 20 speakers or whatever. I didn't.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke, but they had this person come up who was like ex-trans and is now just like, I'm gay and I don't want to go to war and I want low taxes. I don't want enmity between us. Like I'm a conservative. And they literally basically started throwing objects at that person. And while that's going on, in the background behind the truck, there are 40, 50, 60-year-old women twerking to Trump MAGA, Trump salsa music. Okay. And that was 2020. That was right before the election. We're going to win. We're going to be the victors. And I hopped on the PA system. I gave him a piece of my mind. My dad didn't like it. And I stopped working at InfoWars after that. We'll leave it at that. But it just, that time period, that 2020 sickness or 2019 sickness when COVID was, I don't think COVID had even happened. I'm not sure when this
I feel like that might have been 2018 during the midterms is what I'm thinking.
Maybe I'm wrong. I want to say it was a little bit later than that. My point being the degenerate nature of whatever you want to call MAGA now. Like it slipped into something to where like I'd be ashamed to wear a MAGA hat, to be quite honest with you. You know, and that's not because I'm ashamed of the message that we stood for, but the hat represents the total inversion, the hypocrisy, the lie. It's like you're putting on a lie and you're saying it's the truth. That's what I think of when I see that hat, because all that hat represents to me is bullshit now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're alone in that. I don't see MAGA hats anymore, by the way. I used to see them. I don't see them anywhere anymore. For whatever that means. I see the same amount of MAGA hats as I do Biden hats. If we're doing this, if we're keeping score here. Well, I'll say this, and I got to bounce.
No, you're good. Thank you.
This has been fun, but I'll say this in regards to what you just said. You know, here's what they never understood, and this is why it's kind of been so frustrating for the people that were there at the grassroots of MAGA and this movement to get Trump over the finish line and drag everyone. I mean, we were dragging everyone along with us. We climbed over barbed wire. We swam through, alligator-infested waters, and we drug everybody. We drug everybody through it to get to this point, and now here we are totally betrayed. I think, the people that you just talked about, and it's not even that they're bad people. They just don't understand. They don't understand what this meant. They don't understand what it meant. They don't understand what it represented. They don't understand the cost of it. So it was like once the battle was won, it was like once we cleared the barbed wire, once we got into the sun, now they're dancing and, waving the pom-poms and everything. They don't know the pain. They don't know, it's like any classic war movie where they talk about, the young guy that's never been to war and he's all excited. And then the old warrior gets in his face. He said, "You ever killed a man? You ever seen a man die?" He's like, "Wipe that smile off your face, boy. You don't know what you're getting into." And so it's kind of just like, hey, you guys have no idea what it cost to get us here. You guys came in after the pain, after the war was won, and you're just dancing in the sun.
We suffered. We suffered, and I know you did personally. And here's the thing. None of it was BS. We were all true believers in the administration, the promises of the administration, the victory of the administration. And I remember like when he won the second or third time, depending on what you believe, when he won, I was sitting there in the office and I was like, why am I not as happy as I thought I would be? Because when Trump won in 2016, it was like cloud nine heaven. It was like hell yeah, like we got the boy in there, and he's gonna move fast and break things. But at the end of the day, when you come along to the 2024 election, when that victory came, it felt hollow to me, and I didn't realize why until now. And I guess that maybe be a little bit of gut instinct on my part, but this is where we're at. And people that labored so hard, worked so hard to get true change in American populism. I think that we're all just sitting here like asking what happened.
Yeah. Well, the good news is this movement didn't start with Trump, and it's certainly not going to end with Trump. He's probably set it back about 4 to 8 years, and we're going to have to lick our wounds and reorganize. But I don't think the desire that Americans have to break free of the swamp, the deep state, the corruption, all of it. I think it's still there. We're just rattled right now because our champion ended up drawing the sword on us, and so then the cult is looking at us too. So
we gave him the blade, and then he turned it on us. That's the perfect metaphor. I've tried to do a lot of analogies. I like my Emperor's New Clothes one. That is the truth. We empowered a champion, trial by combat, us versus the globalist. And Trump came up and said, "Hey, I will be your champion. I will fight the monster for you." And we gave him the blade, the energy, the sword of the spirit of the American people, and what we wanted, a positive change. And he took all of that power and rammed it through our gut.
Yeah. And now the people that have the sword are aiming it at us.
Yes.
I'm ready to give that rim job, sir.
Yeah.
Send me to the front lines.
Operation Bibi Netanyahu.
Send me to the front lines right now. I'm ready for my country.
That's right. We all got to kiss ass, man. That's what we're being told as citizens. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, and you're based.
Yeah.
Super based. I've never had the pleasure of having a conversation with you, but I definitely enjoyed this one significantly. So
I'm sure we will talk again soon, guys. And I'm actually glad the way today went. It was actually good. When I was looking at my schedule, I was like, you know what? It'll be good for me to shoot that video, sit on the sidelines for my show, and then actually just do your show where I don't have to present content. I can just talk. And so it was a lot better for me today.
Yeah.
We're chill. We're chill.
Super chill.
Awesome.
Well,
super chill for now, Rex. For now. Until we do a great reveal someday soon.
Yeah, we got some stuff we're working on, but we'll keep that to the future. We hope to have you on again soon. Thank you so much, Owen. Everyone's here for you anyway. Where can they find you, though?
Yeah, on X, where you guys picked up the feed, obviously, Owen Shroyer 1776. Really trying to build the YouTube channel right now. Owen Report on YouTube, and then Rumble, in case everyone else takes us off. I think Rumble's pretty safe. Rumble.com/Owen. The Owen Report live 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays, Central.
Powerful.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you. Definitely come on again. Don't be a stranger.
Please.
You got it, guys. You got it. You got a line to me. Godspeed. God bless.
All right.
Thank you, Owen. Wow, another phenomenal interview in the books. We always have the best guests on the gray area. And here's the thing, Thursday, Sunday, we're always here.
Yes, we are. We're not done yet, guys. We did go live early, so it's totally fine. But dude, really like Owen.
Yeah, no, he's a super chill guy.
Good
I mean, here's the thing. I watched his career when he came and started doing broadcasting and InfoWars. Like I've known that guy for well over a decade now. Really phenomenal, solid dude. Really happy to see him go up independent, kind of like us, and try to build his own network, do his own operation. Just always known the guy, always really loved and appreciated the guy, the great Owen Shroyer on our program.
Yes. You know, it's funny. Some people in the chat are like, "This isn't live."
Yeah, no. Like, all right, what?
Like, guys,
it's live. It's like here. The person in Naom says,
I mean, you're
Owen Shroyer.
Your literal tweet. I'm sorry. Your posts are showing up live.
He's
in the
trolling
camera.
us. Too,
I know he's trolling,
but it's okay. He's
I found
one.
it funny.
What's his name? We're gonna read it off because he's done a good job.
You skipped over it.
Oh, I skipped over it.
Yeah, you
go
skipped
ahead.
over
Go ahead
it.
and find it.
Also, I got to scroll up and read some of those super chats. It's this what is this?
Klaus to 62985. Okay, see, it literally can't be live.
Told you it's pre-recorded.
Yeah, it's all a hoax.
Yeah. So you guys have, I'm sure a lot of people are coming over from Owen's platform. We're a little bit different. Obviously, you know this guy Rex.
Sure, and
son of Alex Jones.
I just saw New Groiper say he's hoping that we would discuss our InfoWars moments. We'll do plenty of shows in the future. Like this is just him doing us a favor, coming on our show in the evening on a Thursday.
Yeah, your dad did mention him tonight on the InfoWars network, which was interesting. I never heard him say that live. So
yeah, well, I don't agree with his take, and I hope that fences can be mended. Ultimately, it's his network, right? And he has right to feel protective over his network, but it is what it is. That's why we're independent here.
And I also didn't want to ask Owen about all of that in the past and stuff. I'm sure he's been asked that a million times. We wanted to have a good conversation. I loved the part where everybody had their wigs on and stuff. Like that's the fun stuff here because there's too much negativity out there, like he said.
And Owen Shroyer supporter is called a Shroiper instead of a Shroiper.
Oh, I love that.
I kind of like that. The Shroipers. We're all Shroipers now. Your interaction with Brianna last night was funny about the scorpion. Yeah, Brianna Morello, the lady who was on with my dad, the morning host of the American Journal, great lady, really good newscaster and broadcaster. She was posting, she's like, I had a scorpion in my room. Like, what do I do? I was like, a bowl and a piece of paper, and you put it on it, and you just to throw it outside or whatever. And she's like, I can't. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do? You kill with a broom too, you know?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we still have news blitz to go through.
Yes, we do. But I just want to quickly catch up people on what the gray area is. Rex and I started this probably, 5 or 6 months ago?
6 months ago, about half a year.
Right. So the whole purpose of us doing this was because Rex hadn't been online for a long time.
Very long time. That's right.
And I was just getting into media.
We had a natural conversation. We clicked.
100%.
We're like, we're going to do a show.
And the whole reason for the show was to not have a particular side, because we were so pissed off with both administrations at that point. And it was just a platform to be like, okay, you know what? We kind of agree on a lot more than we actually disagree, because I come from a more liberal background.
North,
and then I moved
south, black, white. It's a whole thing, but we got more that we agree on, a lot more, basically everything
100%.
than we do in difference. And the main thing is, like, you talk about centrism, right? And a lot of people, when they hear that, go like, fence sitter, Tim Pool, whatever. No. Instead of being in the left-right dichotomy, in the middle means like, it's a neutral nothing. We don't care. We take the best ideas from the left. We take the best ideas from the right, because ultimately you're not a donkey. You're not an elephant. You're a human being. And Tim is someone that's very focused on policy. We do deep dives. We don't necessarily have one today. We always do one on Sunday. And you're always going to learn something, whether we examine like the Iraq war and our relations with them, the global economy, the gold standard. We've done all sorts of breakdowns. So tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah. So on Sundays, we typically have a guest. Owen was here on Thursday, which we don't normally have a guest on Thursday, but super welcoming to have him on here. But on Sundays, we do the guest at the first half. We have somebody big on, somebody with expert knowledge potentially. And then we do a deep dive. And the deep dive is to kind of give you guys like a refresher from all the other shows, right? Because a lot of the shows, they'll come on, they'll make probably the same 5 or 6 talking points, right?
Mine.
Right. I mean, there's no big difference between Fuentes and Candace Owens. I'm going to be honest, right? They go on, they say their things with conviction. Where we come in is we talk about specific things, but then we go a layer deeper, hence the name Deep Dive. And I go through everything from the history to the context to the specifics around a particular issue. We were just talking about Russia and Ukraine, right?
Right.
Most people just like, Russia, Ukraine, fight. No, we went all the way back to the 1990s.
Deep dives on it.
And I want questions answered. Like, how the hell is it that Russia hates Ukraine so much? And then we go and we open that can of worms.
And we change our minds as we go along, as the audience does, we hope. And here's the thing. We're not here preaching any specific message, although like ideals and rights and a pro-humanity message is important to us, of course. But ultimately, we reject the Star Wars narrative. And you always hear, whether it's the Iran-Israel-America war, Russia-Ukraine, America-China, blah, blah, blah. We are told that there's always, the rebel alliance, and they got to fight the evil empire, and you got to back the rebels. You don't want to be a Nazi, dude. But at the end of the day, pretty much everybody's bad. Everyone has their own interests.
Everyone has their own interests.
So like it just that model of looking at the world where you're on a team and that team is the good guys and everyone else is bad, like that's just not realistic. So we reject that.
We reject it. And then we also question narratives. Like, is this the person we're supposed to hate? Is this true?
Right.
What's the nuances to it? And you find that
who are these people?
Yeah. You often find that like the narratives are always like forgotten. Like history continuously repeats itself. And in order to actually stop it, you need to educate yourself. That's why I'm like, dude, Congress, anybody who's in Congress needs like an entire encyclopedia of history on American conflict before you go in, or just policy in general. And that has to be the litmus test. That should be the litmus test, because you can go in and you can say, well, we tried this 50 years ago. It didn't work out, but somehow we're still trying to implement the same things today.
Yeah, and that's we demand educated leadership. We demand educated candidates. We demand candidates that can actually articulate their positions instead of what some PAC or some special interest lobby tells them to say or tells them to do. Because ultimately, the country is melting down. Whether we like it or not, we don't like it. We're not fans of these things. We report a war to you or economic crisis to you or energy crisis to you. But these are all things that we're going through right now. And if you're not realistic and if you don't talk about the origins of these things and how they actually came around and how they happen, you're going to be totally lost. And I see people a lot of the time and they go, well, this is basic or common information. Of course, like I know this, everyone knows. I'm like, oh yeah, really? Like you know what's in like 13 different slides when we go through one of these deep dives. And me, even I think I'm decently educated. I always learn something new because a genius in life, the smart person and the stupid person, they have the same outlook. The person in the middle, it's like, but the statistics and analysis that the experts tell me, and this is all what's true. A person that is smart or a person that just sees reality, they look at it for what it is. And you can't do that without examining these systems. And that's what we do here on The Gray.
That is exactly what we do on The Gray Area. And if you guys are finding any value out of what we just had in this conversation, I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching on The Gray Area. Definitely just hit the follow button, because at the end of the day, we are a growing show, but we're growing fast, and it's helping us to be able to get on big guests.
Yes.
We've had a ton of phenomenal people on. We've had Fishback on. We've had Suleiman. We've had Simon Dixon. We've had Harrison. At some point, a whole list of people, right? And so these things help us when it comes not only just to the algorithm, but just like to be able to get the message out, right? So if you guys are following on X, if you look in the bio, my name is there. You can go ahead and give me a follow. I would appreciate that. Rex is also in there. You may or may not be following him as well. Yes. You guys are also going to be seeing us a lot more. We've had some guest appearances on InfoWars. We were just with your dad. Yeah, we're figuring out some things in the background. We were just on with your with Alex Jones, a week and a half ago, something
like that. I think it was a little sooner.
It might have been dude. Time is moving.
Time does fly. Time is moving quickly. Ultimately, the point being, like, we're trying to up production value. That's why supporting the show is amazing and incredible. We're trying to get our producers paid, people helping us edit, people helping us moderate the show live. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. You see these shows, and it will be somebody who is in some giant production grade studio, and they only have like 30K subs, but someone's funding it somewhere, and they get the big guests, they get the view, and I look at it, I'm like, yeah, kind of industry plant. It is what it is.
Yeah, and
we are literally sitting in my dining room with a 5-foot table that I bought from the home decor store.
With a pre-recorded video.
That's right. It's all pre-recorded. It's pre-recorded months in advance.
Yeah, we're doing this everything that you see from the graphics. Everything has been built from our own two hands, right?
You're saying Hank Johnson isn't an intellectual titan? Not sure what you're referencing.
I'm not sure what he's referencing either, but we really appreciate you guys sticking around and definitely tuning in. We've got more. We've got a news blitz coming up where we're just kind of what's happening right now. So with
the news blitz, what I wanted to do is, because we basically been doing wall to wall Iran war coverage, and I go live daily every day. I've especially been doing it, but on the marquee shows, more important shows, me and Tim have definitely been talking about it wall to wall. I want to take a look at economic factors, things that are going on alongside the war, and some domestic policy and Trump trashing Massey. So I've got a little bit of a varied selection today. It's only about a page and a half of links, but we're going to go through them. The first thing I have is something happening at home that really matters, and I don't want this story to go away just because we are in a war, we're in a conflict. We've talked a lot about, Tim, you talked a lot about it. You're an engineer, you understand these things, the electrical bill and how they rob and pillage from people. Okay.
Yep. So AI data centers, is that where we're going with that?
That's right. So this man, he's paying $675 a month for electricity, and he says he ain't even turning the lights on, basically. So
that's crazy.
Well, let's go ahead and roll that when we're ready.
Go ahead, Wes.
I live alone. There is no reason why my 1 month bill should be $675 when the house is pitch black. When we talk about these data centers, there is no question that the reason why our bills are as high as they are is because you've got these multi-billion-dollar corporations, Meta, Amazon, who come into our communities, who take all of their money and use it, don't pay a dime in taxes, and this is why our bills are the way that they are. We are making all the concessions as consumers in terms of what we can do to lower our bill. Lights, no heat. We're going to bed at night. I go to bed at night with no heat on at all. I turn my heat off at night and get in the bed so that my heat doesn't run all night long. When will the elected officials, our local Prince George's County officials, take our fight to Annapolis, and then take our fight to the governor, who will then take our fight to the feds? We know that multi-billion-dollar corporations don't pay a dime, and this is why we are suffering Our quality of life is in the toilet because the people who have been elected to represent us, you guys are not doing your job. Too many people have died, who have been hung and beaten to have a seat at the table, and now you've got 90% of black people running this government, and you guys are treating us the same way we would be treated if we were still back in Jim Crow and 50s.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is oppression. This is oppression on Americans. This is what's going on. This is what the government is supposed to protect us from, right? Hypothetically, in the dream world where they do their job. But the government doesn't work for you. The elected officials don't work for you. They work for the big companies. They work for the transnational capital. They work for the tech bros now, right? I mean, that's really what we've seen under Trump. I mean, I think it was like the first day, basically, $500 million to OpenAI. And
well, you know, when they have those big meetings where, you know, all the tech guys are sitting around the table and they're like, yes, Trump, we love you.
You're the greatest. I know, it's true.
You know, those are deals happening behind the scenes. And so what they do, and was this something you were going to cover as far as like how those deals are formed? Because I
was just going into a little bit. Go ahead.
Well, let me extrapolate on it, right? So a lot of the times with these data centers, they go into a specific region. Let's take Virginia, for example. Virginia is a very hot spot right now. For anybody who's in the Virginia area, you've got a lot of data centers coming in, because when it takes a lot of computing power to do the whole AI thing. That's pretty much what you need to know.
Electricity and water.
Electricity and water. And the thing is these companies like Meta, they go in, they sit down with whatever your electrical company that powers the whole system. They say, okay, we want to make a data center here, but we want a deal and we don't want to pay for all of it. So what they do is they take that same cost that they would in order to the billions of dollars it would take to build that facility, and they subsidize it across the entire region. Because when your electric bill, can you go ahead and pull this up real quick? If you scroll down a little bit, yeah, okay. So you guys see like delivery services. So delivery services and supply services, they're like those things you need to pay attention to your bill, right? Those are where they typically put in cost of what it costs in order to run the electricity in the beginning. And anything that comes from like actually building a facility or whether the power grid needs a new upgrade, that gets subsidized across the entire region for those people.
That's nice.
So what people see is you may have not seen your utility go up where you're actually using more electricity. It's your delivery services that actually go up. And so that's what this guy is talking about, is like, how am I being charged these silent taxes essentially when Meta's got billions and billions of dollars that they have liquid? How are they getting a deal not to pay for that? And there are certain regions, you can cut back to us. Last thing I'll mention on this, there are certain regions where the government or the local government has gotten involved and they're pushing back now. You've got certain counties that are basically saying this should be illegal. We're not going to have the people subsidize your $1 billion plant to make electricity.
Seems like common sense to me, but you know, big government and big business, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. I want to go next to a clip from the Iranians. Iran warns America about the price of oil. These are the kind of messages that you don't see if you're watching Fox News or CNN or one of these channels. And if you're on X, I'm sure you've seen it. It's fine. This is truly shocking. Let's go ahead and get into it now. And I'll narrate it.
You cut back to us. Yeah, go ahead and play that clip. There you go.
Here, mute it, actually. I'm just going to read it. You must understand that you will not be able to artificially lower the price of oil and energy. With the expansion of war in the region, we have announced that you should prepare for $200 per barrel. Because the price of oil depends on security in the region, and you are the source of insecurity, you must understand that you...
It's the same thing.
Okay. Well, they want us gone. Do you see what they're doing here? And they're attacking the GCC, and the GCC buys all this American stock. That's the real death knell to the economy.
No, 100%.
What do you think about that? Because we talked about that before.
It is. And I was talking about like that region. I mean, they're telling, oh, oil tankers, it's safe. Just go in.
We will insure you. We will provide you insurance.
And then you just see stuff getting blown up, right? Firecrackers. But I mean, look, Iran is right there. You've got Yemen that's right there. I mean, the only
They're
way
working
that you can
together.
actually take care of that issue is you bomb everything to smithereens, which you can't even do because they're moving assets around. The IRGC has these little tiny boats.
Yeah, and they go around. Yeah.
They have little speedboats with missiles on top of them, and you're supposed to have a destroyer, a U.S. destroyer, try to take out thousands of those. Their estimate is between like 500 to 1,000 of just those alone.
Well, you think about the bloody nose we got in Yemen last year. Yeah, last year we had 2 aircraft carriers deployed.
Mhm.
Right? And what happened? One of the aircraft carriers, they say it wobbled because of the current of the ocean. There was another report that said it had to take emergency evasive action. That's speculation. But what ended up happening? We lost an F-16 that's at the bottom of the Red Sea.
Yeah.
It's down there with the bones of the Pharaoh and everyone that drowned with Moses.
That's like $115 million right there.
Hey, it's just things happen, right? But that's not a war. But you see, we're back in the region again. And here's the thing. Are we more powerful? Yes. Do we have more military resources? Yes. Do we theoretically stop them? Yes. But it's thousands of miles away. They've had a lot of prep time and they can inflict a lot of damage on us. It's not going to be so easy because Owen was talking about like if Trump declares victory and walks away, I agree that's the best scenario. What interest do they have in unblockading the Strait of Hormuz, letting ships go through as long as those American bases are still there? They don't have any interest in it at all.
Well, the interest is if we stop bombing them, right?
Sure.
Like they are. I mean, as much as they are trying to put up like a brave like front, they are reeling under a certain amount of pressure.
It's a title fight. It's a title fight, and we're the person with the physical advantages, the energy, the strength. We're the person that can knock someone out, but we also have the potential to get tired. And even if they're, a spindly old wiry little dude, if they can survive into like the 4th or 5th round, if they can take us out or just make it not worth it, like they could get a split decision.
Well, I mean, you just have to look at Iraq and you have to look at Afghanistan, which those two countries
are great victories. Yes.
Yeah, are great victories.
That's right.
Those
the dear leader says so.
Our dear leaders. And those two conflicts in themselves showed no promise, right? And Iran is technically stronger than both of those regions. So again, it's not adding up. They know regime change. And also Iran has had plenty of time, like you said, to actually take precautions. And they've built underground bunkers and network systems, and like they've got missiles in the mountain. It's a very mountainous terrain. I mean, I'm just worried when they start pulling out big guns. What does that look like?
I agree. Well, here's the thing. It's not a big deal, Tim. It's all incredible. There's no problem with the American markets. Let's get this $1 trillion in market cap lost up on the screen. Now, look at this sea of red. You want to talk about Red Sea? This is a real Red Sea. Oh, God. Heartburn burp. That was brutal. That's what we're fighting for right now.
You know what I found very funny was oil prices like fluctuating like crazy. So it went into $100 per barrel and then it crashed back down to like 74. And I'm like, this is some sort of market manipulation.
Like they're all making money off of it.
I was about to say, yeah, people are making money in trading the highs and lows. Like if you have that much liquidity, you're making tons of money. And that's what these people are doing. They did the same thing with the tariff situation. You had people strategically place bets and trades the day before Trump makes an announcement, and they put a put. I'm sorry, that makes no sense. So yeah, you're gonna short the market because you have information. And now, what did oil go right back up to like 100? Right?
Yeah, I think it's hovering around there right now. You just made me think of something. This is why the Gray Area is such a cool show. We had Simon Dixon on. We've had a lot of phenomenal guests. He was the highest level, like multi-level, like geopolitical analyst we've ever talked to on the show. We need to have him on again because I want to know what his take is on that fluctuation, market manipulation on the oil price.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a phenomenal question. I just wrote that down so we don't lose that idea.
Yeah, and we'll try to see if we can get
him. Messaged me, said he wants to come back on. We got to figure that out.
He does.
Yeah. So that just happened. So we'll talk about it after the show.
Sweet. Okay, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys don't know Simon, but Simon tried to open his own bank, right, in England. Yes. He was the first bank that was privatized that like he tried opening up that no one else had the capital to do. And he's like
the balls.
He's like very, very wealthy at the end of the day. And he knows about these financial industrial complexes. So, I mean, he knows it's market manipulation. He said the same thing when it came to Venezuela. I said, hey, we knew that we were going to invade Iran, right? Because that's the only way that we would have gone in and taken out the Venezuelan oil. He's like 100%.
Right.
So, I mean, what else do we got up here? So
we got plenty. Let's go to the Trump tweet. When oil goes up,
when the oil goes up in price,
we make more money. Yeah,
I love money.
Here's the thing: it's like the price of groceries goes up, the price of fuel goes up, price of transportation in general, heating your house. All these things are going to go up because of the oil price spiking. But because him and his friends and really just the global transnational capital interests, because they can do that market manipulation that we just talked about, because they can make that price bounce and jump and bet on the stock market, oil futures, poly market, whatever. Let's just read this. The United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far, but when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. You know who else is making a lot of money? We talked about with Owen, Russia, the country we passed 19 sanctions packages against.
I didn't see that coming. That was not on the bingo card.
Crazy, dude. Because like we're at real war with them. Like we're trying to break their economy and break their military. And it is kind of a smart move for Trump being like, Putin, I don't want you to get involved. It could get pretty nasty. So how about you just sell your like that is a little bit of the shrewdness of Trump, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you agree?
That's a good analysis on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was here, the war would be over in one day. Well, here we are a year and a half later, and Putin's just playing hardball, guys.
Yes.
But I still have things under control. Don't you worry.
Yes, and this is how you know it's written by him. This is how you know it's real. But of far greater interest and importance to me as president is stoping, not stopping, stoping. So stopping is spelled with 2 P's. He used 1 P because he's probably on the toilet or whatever. Is stoping an evil empire, Iran, from having nuclear weapons, destroy the Middle East and indeed the world. I won't ever let that happen. I will destroy the world myself first. Okay, that's what he really meant.
Somebody's got to do a compilation of like all the things that he said he would do, and then like the complete opposite.
There are a ton of not with the opposite though. Not with the, you're right. They
need to show like the opposite, like the news flash, like I'll never bring us into another war. Breaking news: Iran and USA are in a breaking war.
100%. It's just the peace president, ladies and gentlemen. We love him. You know him as the peace president. Let's go to the Scott Bessent quote, and this is really a massive admission here. The U.S. apparently had been planning to escort ships for months inside the Strait of Hormuz, foreseeing a crisis like this.
That is wild to me.
Because they said, we had to go in. It was an emergency. They were going to hit Israel, and Americans were going to die, so we have to get involved. That's the official line. That's what we watched them say. Line. And we've been planning it for months? What? We'll go to it.
Go ahead and play that clip.
It is my belief that as soon as it is militarily possible, the U.S. Navy, perhaps with an international coalition, will be escorting vessels through.
And that came up just now in the Situation Room.
Your words, not mine.
And,
but again,
are we days away from that?
We've been planning for this. We've done scenario analysis for months, for weeks. Leading into this. So,
but it's a prospect in.
And he knows he messed up because he goes for months, for weeks, for months.
Sorry, sir.
Make Israel great again. What's going on there, Mega? Like, what's the scenario? Okay, it's not the other word. It's Mega.
No.
It's MIGA. It's the Mega.
Very, very clear distinction. Also, I give Rex the pass.
Honorary pass.
Honorary pass.
But here's the thing. We're not going too crazy. But that's what they are. They should sell hats that say Mega on it. Make Israel or make Iran great again. That's not American foreign policy.
Mega, please.
Seriously, dude. Megas roll deep. It's crazy. It's crazy what goes on. But we'll play the rest of the clip
in the coming days. Then
it is a prospect as soon as we have complete control of the skies and are degrading they have no air force. The Navy is sunk literally and figuratively, and the munitions factories, the rebuilding capabilities for the missiles, completely degraded. So as soon as it is possible for to ensure safe passage, we will do it.
All right, that's enough. It's always the ideal scenario. We've destroyed their Navy. We've destroyed their air defense. We destroyed their munitions, their factories. If that's true, why isn't the war over?
Rex, that's because I'm seeing a very common theme here.
Ooh, okay.
Every single one of these guys that talk, minus maybe like a Rubio or Pete, they're all like they all look like they're on their deathbeds. Like that guy looks like he's like 12 hours away from seeing the ghost of Christmas past. Like I don't understand how these people continue to just climb higher and higher and higher. And, at some point, do we not have like retirement rules in place? And like you got to have cognitive tests to know
that dude is literally the apprentice of George Soros, who helped George Soros crash the British pound and the Greek economy.
Yep, I do remember that. I do remember that.
We look at Lutnick, we look at Epstein's neighbor. All these people, they all look like they've got something wrong with them, because they probably do. But
this one's funny.
Yeah, funeral home gave him a suit. Absolutely. The maitre d' at Golden Corral, 100%. This next guy I'm going to show you is Friedrich Merz. He's the German chancellor. Look at his hairline. Let's just get this up here. We're just going to look at it. We're not going to play the video just yet. I'll explain the video. Or maybe we'll play it when we go in. He's got like my hair, if I grew it out, would not be nearly this bad. He's got like a tuft right here. He refuses to shave it.
Come on, dog. You got to shave that off.
It's horrible. We're going to get into it. But this is him lamenting the loss of nuclear energy in Germany, saying it was a mistake to get rid of all the nuclear power, because look how vulnerable it makes you.
His hair is hanging by a thread, literally.
We're going to watch the Norwood Reaper here. Go ahead and
play that.
Ich sage, dass ich persönlich die Einschätzung von Frau von der Leyen teile. Schlussfolgerungen für Deutschland hat es keine, weil die deutschen Bundesregierungen zuvor entschieden haben, aus der Kernenergie aus.
Let's rewind it and let's just mute it.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to hear no German right now.
Yeah.
All right, Rex will read it out loud.
Ice 9. Moving. Yeah. All right, we're not going to do that, but I'll go ahead and read it.
Oh my god.
All right.
We like to have fun on these shows.
It will not surprise you that if I say that I personally share the assessment. There is no conclusion for Germany, because the German federal governments had previously decided to phase out nuclear energy. The decision is irreversible. I regret that, but that's how it is. And we are now focusing on optimizing the energy policy we have. We need to expand the networks. We also need cross-border cooperation. We were just discussing this in relation to cooperation in the energy supply between the Czech Republic and Germany. These are topics that are currently on our agenda. We must do everything we can to lower energy prices through the market. Pause it. So this is like people on a boat that have run out of all food, and they have like one loaf of bread, and they're deciding how they're going to divide up the rations.
Yeah, okay? Pretty much.
Because they blow up Nord Stream 2, like you talked about with Owen. So you lose energy from Russia. You have to buy energy from both America and now get it through the Strait of Hormuz. The Americans charge you 3 times what you were paying before with the Russians. And now the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. So 2 out of 3 of all of your energy resources are completely shut down. You completely shutter your nuclear power. And you said, oh, we're going to figure alternative energy, green energy out. Newsflash, only way to power the manufacturing heart of Europe would be to use nuclear power.
Yeah, and it's already failing right now.
Well, they blew up all their nuclear power plants. I've seen clips of the Europeans doing the demolition. They're proud of it, like in the 2000s and whatnot. You're like, well, maybe you needed those one day.
And the worst part is, I literally came back from Germany. Yeah. I went twice. I went twice this year, and it's the same situation. I mean, the manufacturers that I'm dealing with and I'm talking to, they're like, it sucks. I mean, our manufacturing costs have gone through the roof. Our inflation is out of control, and they're supposed to be number one. Yeah, they're supposed to be number one in the European Union. And who cares about Greece? Their economy's on fire all the time. That's right. So it's not looking good for Europe.
No,
Certainly, but as long as the United States, you gonna take that oil. That's how we like to do our business. But go ahead and go back to the video.
It's dirty Mac geopolitics. That's what the U.S. engages in. It's like a pimp that comes and slaps the hoe. Now that's what it is. Let's go to the next one. We got the military commander.
You don't want to finish this, or are you good?
It's basically
okay.
Over.
Good.
We got the gist of it. It's just him lamenting not having. Yeah, exactly. But look at that hair. Like,
I know you gotta let that go, man.
Horrible, bro. That's brutal. But let's watch this. This is a testimony before the Senate, I believe. I'll go ahead and read the descriptor of the tweet. Let's not go full screen with it immediately. That's going to be military commander admits bombs don't work.
Mega, please.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. While testifying today in front of the Senate Armed Services Committee, General Alexis G. Grakinowicz, however you say it, the commander of the U.S. European Command and Supreme Allied Commander of Europe, said, What I've observed over the course of studying air power in history is that anytime you attack a civilian population, you usually end up finding out that it just hardens their resolve. We take this all the way back to the London Blitz in World War II. The Brits just had a stiff upper lip and kept on fighting, and I think that's what we've seen in Ukraine as well. Let's roll the clip.
In the war. And what I've observed over the course of studying air power in history is that anytime you attack a civilian population, you usually end up finding that it just hardens their resolve. We take this all the way back to the London Blitz in World War II. Right. The Brits just had a stiff upper lip and kept on fighting. And I think that's what we've seen in Ukraine as well.
Pause it. Now, I know, I know, Tim, that you believe a lot in American military power because you've had the opportunity to see some of these systems up close. I do agree with you from the perspective of like, if they truly like have a failed state like Libya model, maybe the population would be like, we've had enough of this. Like we ultimately, we can't all just die out. At the same time, I think that they've hardened their resolve and that we killed their Pope.
Well, yeah, that as I say, the difference between this and, you know, one of the other countries is the secular part, right?
Sure.
So like if you have a country where every single person is under one cause and there's a religious cause to it, that's even stronger than any other route that you could go. So at the end of the day, when Khomeini dies, yeah, you're killing the Pope, you're killing the man that's almost like second to God for these people.
You're giving them a religious reason.
Giving them a religious reason to rally behind. And, you know, it's weird because they're saying, so his son obviously isn't in power, but they're also saying that like he's in critical condition. The
I think
propaganda.
I think they got him too. Yeah. Here's the thing: if he would be putting videos out right now, they released something.
I haven't seen one clip.
Yeah, apparently the rumor is he had his leg blown off and he's in a coma. None of that is confirmed. That's all speculation. That's why ultimately fog of war. We're trying to focus on greater issues because we don't want to make any factual claims here. But this is a rumor kicking around. I want to give the Maduro update. What's happening with our boy Maduro in the tracksuit? What's happening to our boy? What's going on here?
I have my shades on.
Yeah, got to put the shades on for Maduro.
You know.
Now you're one of the Delta Force that got him. That's probably what they look like too. There you go.
We got him, sir.
Nicolas Maduro is being held in solitary confinement at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He is in a small cell by about 3 to 2 meters with a metal bed, a toilet, and a small window. He can leave the cell 3 times a week for 1 hour under guard.
3 times a week. That's
Dude, you do not piss off America. You do not become a target of transnational capital. This is what will happen to you. He should have taken the deal. He should have taken the deal. It's true. He reportedly often shouts at night, saying he was kidnapped and yelling, "I am the president of Venezuela." Imagine you're there and you got caught with like, I don't know, a couple ounces of coke or whatever, and you're sitting in the detention center and you hear, "I am the president of Venezuela. Please let me out of here."
And the other people are like, who's this crackhead? And
Yeah,
like literally months ago, he's running an entire country.
Yeah.
Talk about a fall from grace at the end of the day. You know, not to derail, but you know who's next, right? We're going to have a new beachfront south of Florida pretty soon.
Yeah, Cuba. Lindsey Graham. Oh, I wish I had the clip. He's like, and we're going to go into Cuba, and I got the hat. He's got the hat. You know, he's got the hat with Cuba on
I can't wait to be on the beaches of Cuba.
All those boys.
Sipping a mimosa.
All those boys on the beach in Cuba. I can't wait to be down there. That's what Lindsey's thinking about. Oh, it's so true, though. Oh, man. That's literally fact. Like,
okay, so here's the thing about Cuba, and I'll update you guys. Basically, what we've done now, when we've strangled them from the economy of oil, because that's their entire economy, right? You're talking about jet fuel, you're talking about everything that power their hospitals. All of those things have been shut down because we've allowed no imports of oil to Cuba.
Sanction.
And then we also did this thing where Mexico was stepping in for a little bit. And they were trying to provide economic relief by sending over oil tankers as well. You know what Trump did at that point? He said, all right, you want to try that? Well, I'm going to put in a new executive order emergency plan, essentially, and say, all right, anyone who gives oil to Venezuela gets an automatic tariff.
Sure.
And then Claudia just backs down.
Well, what you're talking about here is what we talk about all the time on the show is really like the soft power, the economic power of the United States of America, right? And how that's being degraded with all of these actions. You look at a country like Cuba, you look at a country like Iran, they're suffering. Their people don't have cash. They got problems with their economy. They got drought. They got problems with crops, problems with oil. But at the end of the day, a lot of that is artificial. and it's put on by us. And if we wanted to maintain that system of being, the benign dictator of the world or whatever, we would do things in a more soft, more controlled way. We would exercise that power wisely. But every single president that gets in office, whether that's a Clinton, whether that's a Bush, junior or senior, whether that's an Obama, whether that's a Trump, whether that's a Biden, literally all the same, they pick up the hammer. And they're like, I will use the hammer to its maximum effect. I will ban SWIFT. I will sanction you. I will tariff you 2,000%. I will do whatever. And that makes the other countries look around and go, hey, even though it's going to hurt, we better build an alternative system to this.
It's peace through strength, right?
Peace, president.
But here's the thing. I've just, if you really look at it from like a 10,000-foot view, he's just trying to deal with all of the things that we haven't been able to deal with prior to.
He's trying to get it
He's trying to get it over with.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Exactly, right?
Very
because
true.
there's no way, if you were to try to do these things extrapolated out while people are distracted. I mean, well, if you try to do extrapolate, there's a lot more global, pandemonium, for lack of a better word, right? So if you've got Iran going on where everybody's looking over here, you can silently squeeze the life out of Cuba. And Trump isn't the first president that's wanted to do something about Cuba.
Well, you know what they say about death? It comes like a thief in the night. And that's how Trump has come. He's come like a thief in the night. He's come to just enter the country and do what he needs to do and do whatever. Rules be damned, society be damned. And hey, that is American foreign policy at the end of the day.
And I should probably cover this on Sunday because Cuba's economy is being squeezed in real time, and I'm not seeing enough.
Let's do the deep dive. That's a good topic. Let's talk about that. I need to learn.
It really is being squeezed in real time. Hospitals have started to shut down essential everything but essential operations, essentially. And then you've got the average people that are also, flights are not happening anymore because the jets aren't able to refuel. So flights have stopped going to Cuba. At the end of the day, Trump knows I just got to keep it going, squeeze long enough, and then I think regime change happens there, or we make a deal.
Regime change definitely happens there. And that's a case where Iran, completely different scenario. We're not going to be effective there. Cuba, we could take that over next week. So, get ready for what's coming. I see someone in the chat say brute force rules the world, Rex. And I do agree that is true. You have to have strength. You have to have power. You have to be able to exert it. At the same time, here's where that narrative falls apart. Look at the Russia-U.S. relationship. They have tried to work with us. They've tried to join NATO twice. They've tried to do all kinds of things. They have the rare earths. They have the LNG. They would be, like Owen said, our natural partner. But instead of making some sort of deal with them that's mutually beneficial, we back the Europeans and the Ukrainians. They don't have any resources. They don't have anything. The reason why we do that is not for America and for America's interests. It's for the interest of the private corporations and capital interests that own America, like Larry Fink. What happens? Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, they go over to Ukraine with Larry Fink, and they meet with Zelensky, and they tell him, hey, this is how we're going to buy your country up.
There's massive deals that have happened.
Yes.
I mean, just think about between Gaza and Ukraine, the rebuild of those two nations, how much money you're going to make. You basically get to
trillions
to try to create a new city in a lot of these places. New country, yeah. I mean, and especially Gaza, they're gonna make that place look like Dubai.
And look at Trump Gaza. Look at the AI video he put out, and like that. But that's how these people think. They don't think about the ants, the people on the ground. You ever, Tim? We live in Austin or whatever. People live in cities. Especially you in New York. I'm sure you've been in some pretty tall buildings, right?
Yeah, in New York.
And then you're looking down on people like they're ants, right? Because it's literally just like a tiny little blob that you see moving down on the street. That's how they see us. They're like, oh, there's people, they're moving around, but we're up here up top. And what matters is what happens up here.
Well, and you're so far removed from reality, and you don't have, I mean, at that level, anyone who's connected to you, your friends, your family, they're all up there as well. So you're not feeling any emotional tie to the situation.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's not like, your grandma's house got blown up. No, she's living in a penthouse up in New York
That's
City.
right.
That's so when you're so far removed, there's no emotional tie, and it all becomes numbers and statistics on a screen. That's pretty much how it works. And here's the thing. The military is a very interesting creature. Yes, that is a good way to put it. We have created systems in place to where you just don't question orders.
Redundancies on top of redundancies.
Right. So the guy who goes out, flies his plane, and goes and bombs, the children, the school.
He's doing his job.
He's just doing his job. And he can't really have any emotional attachment to that because he's just following
He
orders.
doesn't even know what he's striking.
That is so true. They say there's an asset here, go take it out.
And that's how it all works. It's compartmentalization and the detachment. And that's why we're able to do the things we do as an empire.
And the last thing I'll say is, you know how we talked about weapons and things that we have that we haven't used yet. Oh, there's guys, if you don't think the United States doesn't have some very, alien technology, and when I say alien, I'm not saying like
space age,
but I'm talking about like the next level gen in terms of warfare. We have that stuff. For one,
we better with the money.
For one, my background is in mechanical engineering. I worked in the military, with the military, working on like Black Hawk and Apache helicopters, F-16 engines, all those types of things. I have people who I know that were in the position where president calls up, he says, I want assets moved to this region and I need these amount of people and I need this particular optel here, and you make all of that happen. The things he told me that he's not even allowed to really speak on truly.
Hinted at.
Yeah. He hinted at, right? Because that's top secret clearance. He's like, there's things that go out, go complete a mission autonomously and come back after killing. And you would have no idea that these things are happening. They're not on the news. It's like black box type operations. So our military is extremely strong. And someone said something about Palantir. Yeah, I mean, when you've got now AI on top of that, I don't see how we lose that.
The purpose of the AI is the mass filtering of information and disseminating of it, right? Like they've always collected. Here we got a super chat. It'll come up in the feed in a second. They've always collected the data. Now they have the means to use it with these large language models. So that's really what Palantir is. Just following orders is no excuse. And if you kill kids, you still go to hell. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And we're very anti-war on this show. We're talking about American policy. This is how it works.
It is
how it works. But you know what?
We got any more clips?
We do have more clips. Let's close it out with this. Close it out a little bit of a lighter note, but not really because it's disgusting.
They ain't nothing light out these days.
We've got 3 clips of Trump at the anti-Massey rally. They're all pretty short, but let's look at who this Thomas Massey's opponent is. And this is a never Trumper guy, but look, Trump glazes him real hard. We're going to go ahead and play it now.
I hope the fake news gets this. Tom Massey stands with the ladies of The View. Tom Massey stands with the ladies of The View. Mr. President, we stand with you. Fight, fight, fight!
Awesome.
Fight.
USA, USA. Thomas Massey stands with the women of the View.
Team.
How stupid do they think that you are?
I know.
And it really is like people just, I guess, worship Trump and they were never even a fan of the policies or things he said. They just they thought he was funny, thought he was orange, they thought he was their god.
Yes,
so
that's exactly what happens there. Was that the end of that clip?
Yeah, that's the end of that clip.
I mean, that is how the ball rolls these days. But you know what's great about the independent shows like ourselves? Sure. You got Owen, you've got a bunch of other people. I mean, DMT also said it. He's like, I mean, this is the new wave to speak out against all things. Right.
It's free credibility, ladies and gentlemen. Ultimately, it's just like in 20 years, people are gonna be like, well, you didn't support the Iran war, did you? And then there's gonna be a bunch of people that are like, well, I didn't understand, but they were getting paid by the government or getting paid by engagement or getting, just high off the farts or whatever. And they did what they're gonna do. Let's roll this next Trump clip of him dissing Massey directly.
Of course he does.
He wants the Epstein files
out.
He's
a complete and total disaster as a congressman and frankly, as a human being. He's got one thing going. He went to a good college, but I know a lot of stupid people that went to a good college. And my uncle was the longest serving professor in the history of that particular college, university, MIT. 41 years. My uncle was there 41 years. So that means I have much better blood if you go by that. But I went to the hardest college of all to get into. The Wharton School of Finance. That means I'm real smart.
Pause it.
Get rid of this.
That means I'm real smart. I'm the president. My uncle was the teacher at MIT, so that means Massey's stupid.
That's literally
also,
that's the retard translator.
He didn't get into Wharton by pure merit. There's no shot.
He got bribed to get
nepotism.
100%, absolutely. Let's roll the last Massey video, and then we're going to be done for the show today.
The Wharton School of Finance. That means I'm real smart. We got to get rid of this loser. This guy is bad. He's disloyal to the Republican Party. He's disloyal to the people of Kentucky. And most importantly, he is disloyal to the United States of America. And he's got to be voted out of office as soon as possible. On the other hand, the
I went to the Wharton School of Finance, the greatest school that's ever existed. They paid for me to get in, but it's true. My uncle went to MIT, was a professor. That makes me smarter than Massey. I've got much better blood than him.
You're so smart, Mr. President,
That's
sir.
right, that's right. Are you ready for another invasion?
Yes, I am.
Ready for another operation?
Ready for that rim job, sir.
We're gonna attack BB with a vicious rim job, the most vicious rim job anyone's ever given a man before.
Best rim jobbing in the world, sir.
I'm bringing in the entire 82nd Airborne to give a rim job to Bibi Netanyahu, our real president and prime minister and leader in America.
That is the way that the
fun.
ball goes.
We like to have fun on the show. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys.
good?
Thank you guys. Yeah, so we're just going to close out here. Again, there are probably new people that came in here.
Follow Truism Tim on X. If you're already following me, that's fine. That's whatever. That's great. Follow Truism Tim on X. We both do guest outreach, but a lot of the times Tim doesn't get noticed as much in these DMs because with these people, it's like you got to be up there. Even
Gotta be up
they
there.
look at me like I'm a potato, right? So like we're trying to do things with the show. We're trying to do better. Follow Truism Tim on X. Subscribe to Gray Area Talks.
Yeah, Gray Area Talks is linked in his bio. I'm sure a lot of people are watching on Rex's account. If you look in his bio, I am there. Give me a follow. Gray Area Talks is in there. Give that channel a follow.
All of the accounts, you've got to follow all of the accounts in the gray area.
And we are also live every Thursday, every Sunday at 7:30 religiously. Sunday is our special segment.
Marquee show. It is something that you guys do not want to miss. We typically have a guest on that gives either expert knowledge, something specific, or we have a big guest that has a lot to say, or they have a big platform and they're people that everyone wants to hear from. Okay. So we've got that going on. And then after that, we do a deep dive, and the deep dive is what separates us from every single show. I spend like 10 to 15 hours worth of research trying to understand certain systems. It could be something that affects you at home. It could be something that indirectly affects you, like a war. And we peel back all the layers to understand how situations come to be in order to arm yourself with information, and we don't push slop. This is not something that's like, oh, we're conservatives and we just want to, lick Trump's butthole. And we're also not
radical centrists.
Yeah, and we're not also in the Biden camp. I mean, I really don't like the way that he ran the country either. But again, this is a new show. We have been growing. We appreciate any help that you guys can give in terms of just the support from following us. And again, if you want to watch us, stay tuned. We're doing bigger and better things. You might have also seen us on InfoWars. If you were an InfoWars person, we were just with Alex Jones the other day. And sometimes, Rex is always on Harrison's show as well. We're working on some things potentially to try to see if, the InfoWars thing works out for us as well.
I really like these guys. I really like Tim Tompkins. And here's the thing. These deep dives are a bit too complicated for me. It's true. So he puts it in a children's book and I'm able to read it.
So we appreciate you guys. Thank you. God bless. Go ahead and take us offline.
Peace and love, guys. Peace and love.
Modern life has left us out of balance. Long ago it was once said, certain remedies could grant a man the vitality of a horse. For over 6,000 years, these natural remedies have been harvested and tested by generations. Why create complex formulas when nature's roots are still in our hands? Try Primal Core, ancient remedies for modern life.